All right, so our next speaker, fun fact, is from Paris, came to Charlottesville to go to UVA, and then found WillowTree and decided to stay. So isn't that cool? So could everyone please say bonjour to Lucas Abélanet?
Have you ever met up with a friend or a relative who just recently came back from a long vacation, and they started showing you pictures a little like this, or like this, or even this? And as they were showing you these pictures, you're kind of nodding along, smiling, trying to match their level of excitement. Kind of like what you guys are doing right now. How is it that two people, like you and me, could be looking at the exact same picture and yet have completely different reactions? Well, it's because the photo doesn't tell the whole story. The photo is just a marker that's capturing a particular moment in time for a particular group of people. And believe it or not, we do something a little similar at WillowTree when we build our products. We have our own vacation photos. What are those vacation photos? Well, you might be surprised to hear there's something that we sometimes call requirements. Yeah, I know. In fact, requirements really share the same purpose in the sense that they are a marker that's capturing a shared understanding about what the product is expected to do. It's a way for everyone to get on the same page. But sometimes we mess it up. Sometimes we don't treat it like that. Sometimes we spend so much time drilling into the documentation and drafting the requirement to make a plan for what we're going to build that we end up forgetting to actually have the conversations with everyone who's involved to create the shared understanding in the first place. Which, going back to the vacation photo example, is like saying that your photo of your vacation has more intrinsic value than your actual vacation. Which is kind of a weird thought when you think about it, because it should really be the other way around. Because you can't really have a great photo of a vacation without a vacation in the first place. In the same sense, you can't have a great requirement that's truly identifying what your product is expected to do without the conversations that are creating the shared understanding of everyone who's actually building it. So let's illustrate. Let's go on a vacation. Let's say all of you guys are coming with me and we're going to visit my family in France. Well, France isn't nearby, so probably our requirement number one is a way to get there. Let's say we come up with a user story that sounds a little something like this. As a traveler, I want to cross the ocean so that I can visit Lucas's family in France. Well, because we're on a super short timeline, never heard of that one before, we're going to split the effort into two groups and work in parallel so we can get the most amount done in the same amount of time. What could go wrong? I have other plans to take care of. I'll be right back while you guys figure it out. It's time to go. You guys ready? Let's see what both teams came up with. Let's check in with our first team, Team A. Wow! In the 5 seconds I was off stage, this is what Team A came up with. We can definitely go to France with this, and pretty quickly, too. Now, let's check in with Team B. Seems like Team B went in a little bit of a different direction, but no matter, maybe we can put it together and it'll somehow work. Well, with the no time that we have left, you can probably imagine that we're probably going to have to postpone our vacation. So what happened here? Was Team A wrong or Team B wrong? No. They just both looked at the requirement and solutioned it differently. Neither of them were wrong in their implementation. They were looking at the same requirement. They just didn't have the same shared understanding of that said requirement. Although this is kind of an extreme example, it happens more often than you would think. Have you ever heard a client say, "This isn't exactly what I wanted"? Or a test engineer say, we're not on the same page." Or even a project manager saying, "This project just has so much swirl." All three of these moments are moments where there was something missing. There was a miss of shared understanding between the parties involved. And that was probably because we were focusing on the wrong thing. We were focusing so much on the plan that we kind of forgot about the conversations that really drive the execution to success. So you might be thinking, okay, Lucas, great. Conversation over requirements. Fine. Shared understanding about the product. Awesome. But why is it so hard in actual day-to-day practice? How is it so hard to prioritize the right thing? Well, as Tobias might say, 99% of all our problems are communication-driven. And Eli this morning kind of preached the same tune. Just think about your communication with another person, your significant other, your friend, your colleague, just you and that other person. Think about the time it took to build a relationship with that other person. Think about the patience and effort it took to maintain that relationship. You made mistakes, you miscommunicated. Now imagine multiplying that effort by 2, etc., etc. So that when you have a team of only 5 people, you have up to 10 times that same level of effort. Now there's another reason why it's complicated, and that's actually the term requirement itself. Believe it or not, we didn't always build products in an agile way. Requirements at its essence are a way to plan things out and set things in stone and then execute. We write the requirement, we send it to the devs, and we're done. The thought of requirement brings about this kind of an image, that it's set in stone, it's inflexible. Does that sound very agile to you? And yeah, we know we're called technical requirements managers. We're working on it. So how do we actually implement what we've been talking about? We saw some of the challenges, we saw what we should be striving for, but how do we actually put it into practice? Well, as a TRM group, we actually think about this quite a lot. At our TRM summit a couple months ago, there's a lot of things we disagreed on, but the one thing that we could agree on was a 1-sentence vision statement that sounded a little something like this. As TRMs, we drive shared understanding to empower teams to build products people love. Notice that the word requirement is missing? There's a reason for that. It's because our conclusion is that you should be focusing on the conversations that are creating the best form of shared understanding between all members involved. And yeah, that includes your client. Over drilling down into the requirement and how it's actually going to look. But you don't really need a TRM. Driving shared understanding about the product is everyone's role, and some speakers have said this already. In practice, it's only 2 things that you need to remember. The first, don't stress too much about the requirement. Remember, the requirement is just an artifact that's capturing shared understanding to get everyone aligned and on the same page. If you see yourself having that conversation, worry about that last. And second, if you have the chance to create an artifact from an amazing conversation, creating shared understanding, use it for what it's meant to be done, which is creating more conversation. It's a stepping off point for people not to start from 0. To bring it back to the vacation photo analogy, it's like saying when you see yourself on vacation next time, and you're telling yourself, whatever happens, we need photos, guys. Try to think about it a little differently, saying, wow, we're really having a great time. Maybe we should take a picture to remember it better. And when you come back from your vacation and it's time to show your friends and family, think about it differently. Don't just send them a 3,000-slide PowerPoint about your vacation adventure, and maybe say, here's my vacation photo. Let's talk about it. So with all that said and done, the last thing I want to leave you with is, let's get to work, let's go on vacation, but don't worry, I'll remember to take the camera. Thank you.